And we are live. Welcome, everybody, to Ask a Wizard. We're going to be doing take two on the AI lecture today because yesterday's was just so rough. We had a lot of internet interruptions. It was just all around a bit of a rough time. So, if you're here, please make sure that you comment in the comment section below. And if you'd like to get a live wizard reading, chat options hide all chat messages. All messages are visible. Let's go with all messages being visible here. And if you'd like to get a live wizard reading, all you need to do is share this stream and let me know in the comments below that you would like a live wizard reading, and we will get you on the list. Today, we're going to be talking about the topic of AI. We're going to be discussing why AI is not something to be afraid of. You may have heard in the media that AI is this monstrous force, this unstoppable horror that's going to just take us all over. It's going to brainwash us, control our minds, and just overall destroy our industries and the world. And today I'm going to be discussing why that's not true. I am an expert in the field. I am in digital marketing. I'm one of the best digital marketers in the country, as it were. I have outperformed some of the greatest marketing campaigns around, and I am at the forefront of this technology. The reason why I am so well versed in this technology, in fact, I was cited as a source for how Google's Rank Brain AI works, which is their attempt to do AI and failure to do so, which I documented very clearly. And the reason why is the digital marketing and advertising is the forefront of where AI technology development occurs because developments in AI technology regarding marketing and advertising are the fastest and most efficient way for producing financial returns. So the development and the technology is at the forefront in that industry for that specific purpose. The highest ROI you can get is for developments in AI regarding marketing and advertising. So this is everything from chatbots to digital marketing platforms and ad serving platforms, as well as big data gathering and using that to identify what your behavioral patterns are and how to influence your decisions. So, in today's lecture, we're going to be discussing why you don't need to be afraid of AI, why AI is not a threat to controlling your mind, and why AI is not something that you will be seeing in the future. So that is what we'll be discussing in today's lecture. But let's get some wizard readings going here first. So if you'd like to get a wizard reading, please go ahead and give this a share and let me know in the comments below if you'd like a wizard reading. Hello, how's it going, Seth? How are you doing, sir? It's very hard to see your guys' names on this. They're very small. I'm not sure why that is. Would you like to get a wizard reading today, Seth? Let me know in the comments below. We'll get a wizard reading going for you shortly. And while we wait for those to come on in, hello, how's it going, Brody? Welcome, welcome, Brody. How are you doing, sir? If you'd like to get a wizard reading, share the stream and let me know in the comments below that you would like a wizard reading. While we wait for those wizard readings to come on in, let's get a reading for everybody. This is just what to expect over the weekend here, just some things to keep top of mind for yourself, some good wisdom to be aware of in the days to come. Let us take a look. Brody says, "Can I get a shout out?" Don't give shout outs like that, Brody. If you'd like to get a shout out, all you really need to do is produce valuable things that are worth shouting out. Say something funny, be nice, be a member of the community, get a reading, things like that. That's how you get a shout out. That's how this works. So this is for everybody here. Just things to be expecting and looking out for in the weekend ahead here. We see the Nine of Wands popping up here. So this is attainment of spiritual development. So be on the lookout for a revelation of reaching a certain level of principled understandings. Be on the be aware of the fact that there's probably going to be some things that occur that make you realize like, wow, I know what's right and I know what's wrong and I can see what's happening here and I know that that's objectively the wrong thing. And that will probably help you start to realize that maybe you shouldn't listen to that source of information in the future, that kind of thing. Brody says, I followed you on TikTok. Thank you very much, Brody. I appreciate that. And then the second thing to be aware of is the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is a choice regarding emotions. So, probably going to be conflicted with something where our conscious wants one thing, our subconscious wants another, and you're going to have to deal with that emotional choice. So, just be prepared for that decision to be made over the weekend here. And then finally, we see the Lover's card popping up here. So, the Lover's card being about It can be about meeting a new romantic partner, but this also could be about getting swept off our feet with something that we love, that we're passionate about, and putting on those love goggles and not really being able to look objectively. So, in those times, this is a very fun time. This is an amazing time for people in life. But it's important to also have a third party there who isn't wrapped up in that same emotional sensation and ask them for their third party opinion on the matter so that you can make more informed decisions. Because it's kind of hard when you get wrapped up with something that is brand new to you that you might find really fascinating and interesting, but haven't really thought through the long term consequences of. So, those are the three things to be aware of over the weekend. And let's get these wizard readings going right now. I saw Seth coming in here looking for a wizard reading, so let's get that going. Seth Lother. Seth Lother. Is there anything in particular, Seth, you were looking for insights on? Let me know in the comments below. What is this? Osilifi. Osifili says, yay. Not sure what that means, sir. But thank you. Thank you for that. I deeply appreciate your feedback. All right. Seth, if there's anything in particular you'd like a reading about, if not, I'll just move forward, assuming it's a general reading. Let me know in the comments below, though, if you need some specific insights. Let's go. Give this a nice shuffle for you. Seth's looking for just stuff that will happen next week if you can. I'm not a psychic, so I don't predict the future, but what I would do is I can get the information that'll be beneficial for you in the short term, tailor the philosophical advice more to the practical rather than the long term systematic approach. So that would be more in line with what you would get from like a dialectic and rhetoric. So I think the correct philosopher would probably be Socrates or Aristotle, would probably be the best way to go. So let's find out. Wow, and would you look at that? To make matters worse, not worse, this is great. So these are fantastic cards appearing here for you, Seth. However, they're all the major arcana. So this is all about long term, big principles and long term information. So hopefully this should help you. You know, obviously the microcosm is the macrocosm principle will be at play here. And so while this is the big picture, and it's great to see that the big picture for you is all really, really positive, apply the principles on the microcosm as well. So let's get a philosopher involved here and get Mr. Socrates, if we can. Would you be so kind, Mr. Socrates? Thank you very much, sir. Looking into the past here, we see the chariot. So this is seeing that the path has been cleared away. You are able to move forward unchallenged. You have weighed the pros and cons. You have mapped out your plan. You have been thoughtful in your plan. You have considered the all the logistics. You've considered the positives and the negative. But unlike the high priestess, which is about grounding it in your principles, this is a grounding in logos. So this the spirit that comes to my mind is the principle of Machiavelli, the prince. This is a very calculating, cold, and calculating approach. You figured out your strategy. You know what's going to work. You know what won't work. And you have weighed all of the different variables and set forth a very powerful and effective plan to enact. And so that's what the chariot is showing us here in the past. Now, walking into the present, we find that the results, having done that, is the Aerophant. So the Aerophant here is about being in a position where we have attained a level of success, and now we're in a position where we need to kind of fake it until we make it. We are in the spot where we enacted our plan, we rose to a new level of success and power and competence, but now we kind of are worried that we're fake. We don't really deserve it. We didn't really earn it. We're almost like a fear that we tricked our way into this kind of situation. And so what this card is saying is that everybody is going to feel like that initially when they're raised to a new level of competence because you're set to a new bar. You're it's not like you reach this level and then that's it. It's just you reach a new level of competition. There's more people who are doing great. Perfect example is like if you did excellent in high school in a sport and then you go to college and you realize, wow, there's a whole nother level to this. And then again, through the professionals, the college level is not even comparable at all to the professional level. And so that's kind of what we're seeing here is this fear of feeling like we're having to fake it till we make it. And what I would recommend for you is just don't worry about that so much. That's normal to feel that. And it's good to model people who are successful at what you're trying to do when you're starting out so that you can figure out why they do what they do. And then from there, once you've modeled excellence, you can start to adapt and change it and make it your own. And that's not a bad thing. People will criticize you for it, but those are the people who don't accomplish anything and don't try anything in life. And you shouldn't listen to people like that. The people who levy criticism to you that haven't accomplished anything or done anything aren't worth listening to. What you should listen to is the people who are in the field doing what you're trying to do and doing it very well. Those are the people you want to listen to. And so that's kind of where we find you at right now, Seth. Is this sounding accurate for you? Let me know in the comments below. And if not, that's perfectly fine. We can adjust accordingly. Just let me know to make sure it's on point before we move on to the next steps and the suggestions to help you move forward on your hero's journey. Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. Yeah, did you want to get a reading? Let me know in the comments below. And if Brody, if you'd like to get a reading, let me know as well. Seth says, yes, most of it is awesome. Glad to hear that this is sounding on point for you. So let us figure out what are the next steps. Well, the final card we see popping up here for you, Seth, is the Hermit. So the Hermit here is saying that the next steps really should be about self reflection. So when we are in this state of the Hierophant, it is important to note that we are, quote unquote, faking it till we make it. And what we should be doing to get ourselves out of this phase, because we don't want to stay in this phase. If we stay in this phase, that's not good. We don't that you then you do just become a copy of somebody else, and then you're not yourself, and there's no reason to be someone else because they're all taken. Be yourself, okay? People always say be yourself, and that's what they're trying to communicate is rise to the level of excellence which God has planned for you. That's what they're really trying to communicate. And then they do it poorly by saying, be yourself. Don't be yourself, be your best self, and strive to become a better version of yourself every day. It's a better way of phrasing it for you. And so, what the hermit is saying is, while you are faking it till you make it, you're learning from someone else's excellence. Analyze yourself. Look at what you do that is different from the people who are excellent and be objective about it. See where are you failing and where are you succeeding. And when you can learn to do that on your own, to turn inward and reflect on your own strengths, your own weaknesses, your own faults, and also model excellence, you're set to succeed in life. When you can do those two things, model excellence and then self reflect on the negatives and the positives, and then track that and then make changes and improve into the future on your own, you are a self-sufficient, self-learning machine, and you cannot be stopped. You're really leagues ahead of everybody else. So even if this takes you years to master, if you can get this down, you're going to be able to just dominate in whatever field that you're in. Just making sure that you follow those principles and wherever you go. You get thrown into a new career, just who is doing excellent in that career, let me model their behavior, and then self-reflect at the end of the day, the week, the month. What am I doing that is different, and what are the things that I really excel in, what are the weaknesses, and by doing that you become an unstoppable learning machine. So this is really great to see popping up here for you, Seth. It looks like you are on track for a lot of success here in the future, man, and I wish you the best of luck. Please stick around. I'd love to have updates on your life and your story and see how things are going. You can always DM me on Facebook or Instagram as well. And of course, if you're interested in joining the Parliament of Owls, that's free to do. All you need is just a owl name. Let me know what your owl name is, and we can owlify you as well. So thank you for letting me give you a reading, and we're going to move on to either the lecture or more readings. Do we have any more readings that are being requested today? Anybody else looking for a reading? Let me know. Do, 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 do. All right. I don't see any request here yet. Going once, going twice, and sold. Oh, look at that. Tyler coming in at the last minute looking for a reading. All right, Tyler, let's get your reading. A zodiac reading. I don't do a zodiac reading. I'm a wizard. I can give you a wizard reading. Is that what you'd be interested in, Tyler? Let me know in the comments below. And if so, what would you like your reading regarding, Tyler? Let me know. By the way, I have a theory that the people with the name Tyler are the coolest people in the world. Oh, I just totally missed that. That was a terrible shuffle. My goodness. That was an embarrassing shuffle. There we go. Very nice. Very nice indeed. What would you like a reading regarding, Tyler? Let me know in the comments below, and we'll get your reading going. I'm going to move forward, assuming it's a general reading, unless you have anything in particular you're looking for. Just go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Ooh, Chariot popping up again. Beautiful. Beautiful card. All right. Let's take a look here. I think Carl, you should be able to help in this particular scenario. All right, looking into the past here, what we see is the Eight of Pentacles showing up. So the Eight of Pentacles is about advancement in the material. So what this is telling me here is that in the past, you had really identified your core principles, things that you were good at, and you've been working very dedicatedly to improve at those skills. You've figured out what works, what doesn't, and now you're in that beautiful phase in life where it's all right, I am good enough. I know how to get better. I know what works and what doesn't. And now I can just put my nose to the grindstone, churn it out, and start improving and seeing regular progress. It's a beautiful place to be at in life. I keep forgetting that you now do the 9 p.m. lives on YouTube. I keep thinking you're going to do it on Facebook. I'm sorry. Yes, Seth, I have switched over here. I do put a post on Facebook, though, to let you guys hop on over here. But yeah, I do them over here as well. I'm looking into a software called Restream that I think will allow me to do both, but don't hold me to it. I don't know if I can do that through my phone, but that is there are things in the works. I am in transition in my life right now, so there is a lot of variables in the air. But I would say within a couple of months or so, when I'm more stable, I think having studio would be possible, as well as having some more control over it rather than just my iPhone here. But thank you for that. So what we're seeing here, though, is again for you, Mister. My goodness, what was I saying, Tyler? Um, this is about being in that really beautiful spot in your life where you're just advancing and growing. Now, walking into the presence, what we see is what's very common is that once we get into that phase of that slow grind, there is this emotional disruption. It's the realization that all those things we read about, all those articles, all that marketing and advertising, and all that positivity that people have been telling us, it was a little hypey, right? And so this causes a little bit of emotional distress. This is the realization that there is no secret trick that's going to instantly change your results. There's a few core things that you can do well. And if you get really good at them, then you'll improve over time. But there isn't this magic fast solution to doing it. It's just about getting really good at some core basic things. And so that can be an emotionally disruptive time and more or less make us feel like, wow, this journey that I thought I could just overcome instantly is there's just so much more to do. Wow, it's just there's just no way around it. This is going to be 2, 3 years of practice and work before I get to the point where I'm really, really good at this. And so we see that reflected in the card here with the looking down of solemnness. We see that goal in front of us. That's the building here. That's where we wanted to reach, but there's this giant river in between that we're going to have to now go on another path. It's going to take us a bit of time to get there, and that can be a very frustrating time. And so, sorry to see that popping up here for you, Tyler. But you know, it's better than the alternative, which is not having any insights at all. Tyler says, "Yeah, that is right. The emotional part. Glad to hear that this is sounding accurate for you, Tyler. So let's move on to the next step. So, what do we do in this situation? Well, what we see popping up here is quite beautiful, and that's the chariot. And so, as we said before in the previous reading here, um, the good news is that while this is unfortunate, it is unfortunate that there isn't the magic secret solutions. It's just going to instantly transport us to that spot. We now know the path to success. We can begin the calculations. We can begin to say, all right, I will weigh my pros and cons. I will consider what I want and what I don't want. I will consider the risk and the reward. I'm going to calculate and plan accordingly. I know what I need to do. I know where I need to go. I know who I need to communicate with. I've got the general principles down. And more importantly, do I not only have the general principles down, but I have a very thorough, methodical, tactical manual for how to achieve success. So that's the next step for you is you know the principles already. You know how to get better. Let's come up with a concrete plan. So maybe this is saying, in 6 months, I want to be here. And let's reverse engineer for where I want to be and where I'm at now and what exact steps I can take to get myself to where I want to be there. And shoot for the moon because, and I wouldn't recommend setting a goal like saying, I want X amount of dollars in my bank account or I want this. Don't make it a concrete goal. Instead, set something that has open limits. Like um, I want to be uh, I want to be better at fill in the blank. You want it to be open ended so that you don't feel like you're letting yourself down. But set that goal high and make it something that you can continue to strive towards. And that's going to set you up for a success that will just let you shoot forward um, over and over and over again. This could be like, setting an idol, for example, saying, I want to be better than this person in my field, for example, or I've accomplished what these people have done. Even if it seems unrealistic, set your goals very high and shoot for them because even if you don't, you're still going to be much higher than you would have if you set your goal much lower. And so that would be my recommendations for you. I hope that helps you out, Tyler. And we're going to move on to the lecture or the next reading, depending on if we have anybody who's looking for a reading. So if there's anyone else who would like a wizard reading, let me know in the comments below. And if not, we're going to move on to the lecture about AI. No problem at all, Tyler. I'm glad I was able to help you. If you'd like to get a reading, let me know. Let me know in the comments below. All right. Haven't seen anybody pop up yet. Going once. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Gotta move the iPhone away or it will overheat. It's like 100, I'd say about 100 degrees in my house right now. It's pretty intense. It's not a pleasant. I'm in California, so there's a massive heat wave going on. Not a very fun experience. Our Wi-Fi box is constantly flickering in and out, and my phone is overheating just sitting in the room and live streaming. It's quite intense. All right, going once, going twice. And sold. All right, we're going to move on to the lecture for today. If you'd like to get a reading later on in the stream, simply share this stream and let me know that you would like a free reading in the comments below, and we will get your reading for you after the lecture. So, without further ado, we are on take two of the AI lecture. And why AI is not something to be afraid of, why AI is not something that's even real. You're actually being fooled. It's a marketing ploy. And I'm going to be explaining why you should not have fear for this situation, despite all the things in the news and all the things in the internet and all the people telling you otherwise, that AI is the end of the world and we're all going to get consumed and mind controlled and changed. That is not something that is real, and that is not going to happen. And I'm going to tell you guys exactly why tonight. Why I believe, in my opinion, AI is a fraud. So, why are you hearing about AI? Why is everyone saying AI is coming? And why do they think that are they saying all these horrible, scary things? Well, the reason that you're seeing this is marketing. The reason that marketers want you to know that AI is this horrible, powerful, terrible thing that can control your mind is so that businesses will hear about it and think that it's true. If they believe it's true, they will see it as a profitable investment and they will want to put their money into AI. Now, the problem is what people have categorized as AI is not what you think AI is. In fact, it's nothing about it is AI. There's no difference between what AI does today and what AI did when the first computer was created. And it's the ability to solve problems. The only thing that has changed is the speed and complexity of the problems it can solve. The AI that we talk about today is not AI. AI would be the creation of consciousness, the ability to think for yourself, the ability to say, I am. And AI does not have that capacity, and I would argue will never have that capacity. And I'm going to explain just how completely inferior these systems are. Now, keep in mind, I'm working with the most advanced systems of AI in the world. I'm working with these systems from Google, from Facebook, from Twitter. In my career, I analyze these things on a day in and day out basis, and I know the actual metrics behind them and how successful and not so successful they really are. And so that's what we're going to be looking at here today. So the first principle that we need to look at here is the concept of emotion and what is known as a click through rate, a CTR. And you can look this all up for yourself as well. The CTR is the marketer and AI systems with its trillions of dollars of human data that it's collected through the social media and Google Analytics. Um, the data that it is stored on you that is sold to advertisers for billions of dollars to target you with an ad. So they have all the information that you've ever done on the internet, all of it, categorized, collected, what you like, what you click, what you don't click, all the behavioral data, and it's accessible to all of us for a very reasonable price. Despite all of that data, despite all of that information, there is a metric that we use to measure, which is called the click through rate, which is when I share my message in front of people based on all of that data and based on all the research to create the ad that is best suited for that market, how many of those people actually click the ad? So the measurement of the click through rate is if I have $1 trillion worth of human data and I spend billions of dollars to put that message in front of you, what is the effective rate that I can get someone with their mouse to go click? That's it. Just that one motion. Just click. Or scrolling through your phone, stop, click. That's the only thing it's measuring. Just the ability to get you to do that one thing. With $1 trillion worth of data, with billions of dollars worth of advertising, what do you think the average rate is that you could do with all of that data? If I could know everything about you, down to the most minuscule amount of information, down to the seconds that you spend scrolling through Facebook, how often do you think I could get your hand to go click? It's actually pretty surprising. You would come to find that the average click through rate across all industries is only 1.39%. That's right. If I go and show my ad to 100 people, about one person will click the ad. Despite having $1 trillion worth of research, billions of dollars worth of advertising, one of you will click the ad. Not very impressive, right? Not that powerful, not that scary. And that is the forefront and the most powerful form of advertising in the world. So when you feel afraid about these scary machines controlling your mind, keep in mind that only 1% of the time can they even get you to do something as small as take your hand and go click. 1% of the time. That's it. Now, this number becomes even more startling because once you consider the fact that only 1% of people will even click your ad, now we have to ask ourselves, well, a click is just a click. That's not really that important, right? I think a more apt analogy would be how many people would buy a product, right? That's more of a buy in, I think. So that's what we're going to be looking at here now in the material sense. Of the 1% of people who do click the ad, how many of those people will then go on to buy something? Well, what we find when we look at that number is that of the one person who clicks the ad, 1% of people who click the ad, only 2.35% of those people will ever buy a product. So you have 1,000 people who see your ad. 1% of them will see that, will actually click the ad. Of the 1,000 people, you are now left with 1% of those people. Of those people, only 2.35%, two people would buy your product out of 1,000. Pretty crazy, right? So this is how ineffective, and this is the best AI can do. This is the most advanced AI on the planet. This is what Silicon Valley is bragging about. This is what Google is bragging about. This is what Facebook is bragging about. This is the best that they can deliver. And here's the last nail in the coffin in the material sense. How much is the transaction on average for those 1% of 2.35% transactions? You get down to that little tiny group. How much are they willing to even spend on that transactions? Throughout that entire funnel, the best you can expect is an average of $86.47. That's it. trillions of dollars of technology, billions of dollars worth of advertising, specifically to reach you with all the data that they have stored and collected on you over all these years, the best that they can get. 1% of you to click, 2.35% to actually buy. And when they get you to buy, you only spend $86.47. Now compare buying something for $86.47 to changing your belief on something that you believe to be true, on your principles, to get you to sway your opinion on something that you believe to be true that's not, to completely change your ideology. The most powerful and profound and solid things about us. What is AI's chance of changing that? And I would argue that it's virtually zero, virtually non existent. Now, what about logic? What is the real effective techniques? Well, what we're going to look at here is the logos here. And what's odd to see is that despite all these Silicon Valley companies talking about their magical AI that's going to solve all the world's problems and automate jobs and change marketing and control the world's minds and change people's thoughts and sway their political opinions, think all of that data, all that information, and none of them can outcompete what Aristotle wrote down in a book about 3,000 years ago, in the book called Rhetoric. And despite all of these advancements, all these changes in technology, all these things that we have run into today, nothing is more effective than what Aristotle wrote down in terms of marketing and advertising. And it's still the way that it is. And that is what he wrote in the book Rhetoric, which I highly recommend reading. What it breaks down to are the three core principles: the ethos, the pathos, and the logos. So, the most important part, the beginning part, is your reputation by being a good person, telling the truth, and doing good things, and being known for having a good solution for what you're trying to do. You develop good ethos. That is your reputation. That is what you should cultivate by being an honorable and good person and letting the world know by accomplishing great things. So that is what your ethos is. The next step is what's called the logos. The logos is the application of the dialectic. So a dialectic is creating a true argument for what you believe in, and a true argument for what you believe in based on logic and argumentation, and then formulating that into um, logical, a logical formatted system of thought that will prove that your case is true. So that's what gauging in the dialectic is. And then in doing so, also identifying who this message is valuable for. And this is a very painstaking and difficult part. This is the marketing research. So this is going and finding people who are in pain, people who are suffering from a problem, figuring out what that problem is, identifying and articulating what that problem is, and then figuring out how your item, idea, service, product solves that problem. And that's the dialectic, that's the logic of your argument. And then finally, you wrap that all up with what's known as rhetoric or pathos. And this is stimulating emotions so that you can compel the audience in an emotional way to identify with your logical argument and, in effect, trust your authority. And that is how you make a compelling argument. Nothing has ever been more effective than that in marketing. There's not been any breakthroughs in advertising or technology or any form that have superseded what Aristotle wrote down there in that book 3,000 years ago. Everything else is just rehashing his own principles or doing something that's less effective than what he taught. That is logic. That is the logos. And why? Why is this not possible? Why can this never be possible? Why will AI never exist? Well, if you're a Christian or if you're a philosopher, if you've studied Socrates, if you've studied Plato, if you've studied Aristotle, if you've studied Nietzsche, you'll know that you can never defeat free will. You can never recreate free will. We have no idea how we have free will unless you're a Christian, then you know it's a gift from God. it is the proof of the supernatural. Every time you exercise your ability to use free will, you are proving the existence of the supernatural. And because of that, we can't even define what free will and consciousness is. And if we can't define what it is, if we can't analyze what it is, and if in effect doing so would disprove your ability to do so, as Nietzsche discovered, you've locked yourself into a corner. And this is the death cult that you've seen in Google. The reason that they're spiraling right now is that Google is a cult. They worship an AI god and they believe that they are going to create AI and, in effect, create a real God. And they invested billions and billions of dollars into trying to do that and through the form of research into AI. And what they're realizing over all these years, and this is what's causing the spiral, is that they can't. It's impossible for them to do it. And as much as they are trying, as much as the research that they're putting into it, um, they're not even getting close. And so that's why you're seeing Google spiraling. That's why you're seeing Facebook spiraling. That's why you're seeing Twitter spiraling. That's why you're seeing Elon Musk spiraling, is because these things can't happen, won't happen. And these people are in a lot of financial issues right now because they put in a lot of effort, a lot of money, and a lot of research into something that if they had simply picked up a book that was written just a couple thousand years ago, they would know would never happen. And that is why I believe, in my personal opinion, AI is a fraud. And I hope that that is a compelling argument for you guys and will help you feel a little less stressed. I hope that that helps you guys get a better outlook on life. And don't be so worried. Turn off your flashing boxes. They're not, they're just there to scare you to make money. And quite frankly, they don't do a very, very good job of it. So I hope that that guys helps you guys out. I hope that you guys enjoyed that lecture for today. And if you'd like to discuss it in the comment section below, feel free to send your questions now. And if you'd like to get a wizard reading, please feel free to let me know in the comments below as well. And we will get a wizard reading going for you shortly. And let me see what we've got here today. Tyler says, that's crazy. I know, right? It is pretty intense. Wallace and Gromit is a good movie and show. Not going to lie. I guess that's true. Um, I remember watching it. That's the one with the like the claymation, right? How are you? How you probably aren't. That's just kind of what happens. I do mine on mobile and it lags out, so it shows you weird stuff. But I'm glad to see that you're here, Tyler. And with that, I think that is everybody. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. It doesn't look like we got any questions here and nobody looking for another reading. So with that, we're going to close up the stream. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's lecture. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to take down the other one because it was like cutting in and out. It doesn't look like we had any intermittent issues here today. So I'm glad that this one seems to have uploaded well. Thank you for joining me here on YouTube, guys, and appreciate doing the streams here. And I'm going to head out for tonight, unless you guys have any questions or free readings. And if you'd like to support this stream, if you'd like to support what I do, you can go to patreon.com/ask a wizard, and you can buy me a cup of coffee. You can buy me lunch. You can buy me dinner. That's the best way to support me. You can also buy a free reading at any point, or a paid reading, I should say, at any point at paypal.me/ask a wizard. Pay whatever you think a reading is worth, and we will do that live during these streams. I appreciate the support there as well. And finally, we have a free personality test call. That is a call that you can sign up for on my website at askawizardmagic.com under the free personality test. You will take a test and a questionnaire, and we will schedule a call to talk to you about your personality type, your goals, and your strategies for life, where you want to try and get in life, what are holding you up, and I will recommend books for you and a course for getting past that because I am a wizard and that is what I do. And so if you'd like to take part in that free personality test, head on over to askawizardmagic.com and join by clicking the free personality test link and signing up there. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and I'm going to have a good night and go watch some Seven Deadly Sins with Alex. Have a good evening, and I'll talk to you guys all tomorrow. Oh, sorry, I'll talk to you on Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. Pacific Coast time here on YouTube and 7:30 p.m. Pacific Coast time over on TikTok. Have a great evening. I'll see you all later. Good night.